All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm Triton Baduk. Let's get into some more 5Q games. I think there's 5 more games before I can double rank up. Let's see what we get today. See how long it takes today.
Start to play.
Okay, I think I have a game. Let's see if he stays. Okay, I am black. And let's just play... Okay, let's just take the corners. Let's not worry about anything else and just take the corners. So he really wants to play a special, fun opening here. I'm not going to worry too much about anything. I am just going to enclose my corners and force him to use this in some way. I think the best move for him to do right now is actually this 4-4 in the bottom right. But he's going to do this instead. Okay. So it's been 12 moves, so he can't resign without losing the game. So if I bump into this, this is all... Oh, he resigned. Never mind. Let's try again. He did not want to let me think during the game. Let's see if we can get a new one.
Start to play.
Okay, I'm white this time. And it looks like he's staying. So far. Maybe not. Okay, well, so he has 11 wins and 1 loss. So this could be an interesting game. Let's just play the same type of corner, the other side. Okay, it looks like he's actually going to stay. Since this is a cross game, I am perfectly fine with just trying to take territory. So I think he should have played the... Oh, he should have played the other approach, but this is also good. So if people try to do this avalanche, you can respond and play the avalanche, but I like to just extend here at D18. I think this was something that the AI was showing. Black would normally extend, but since he protected here, do I want to Hane? I think I just extend once here to prevent him from Haneing, and it should be good. If I Hane, there's a bunch of cuts everywhere, and I don't want to have to think too much about that. Ah, but he's blocking here now, which seems very slow. So we can just enclose our corner. I don't think it matters too much how we do it. Let's do the small one. Corner's always big. This is threatening to approach him in the bottom left, so right now the bottom left is the next big move. And there's nothing here in the top left corner right now, apart from end game. So he shouldn't be focusing on that, hopefully. So we wanted to enclose this one to make this area wider. If he gets one more move, it becomes really difficult to do anything on the top. But this approach on the bottom is quite large. So I think I will just approach. He can have the top and I can have the bottom. We can share it. Share the board. If he does some sort of pincer... If he does some sort of pincer, it'll end up being a fight which would help reduce the top, potentially. Now, I just don't know if I want to press him down, because he's definitely going to push and cut, and I don't really want to get into that sort of reading variation thing. So I think it's fine to just jump out. If you do a single jump, they can do the knight's move at d6, which can build them a little bit on the left side. So I think you can jump out with the 2 spaces here instead. So they can't raise themselves up. They would have to respond on the third line instead. But this does give you a little bit more weakness in your shape. Which he's going to try to exploit right away. So there's a couple options here. I could treat this e6 stone as not very important and just go live in the corner. If I wedge here, then he has to block it. And I don't think he can block the corner because I have both ladders to the left and to the right. So I think I will wedge here to try to use this e6 stone. It's a common tactic when you have ladders on both sides. If he takes the corner and allows me to capture the stone, I'm fine with just getting the strength here, which will allow me to be more careful on the top. Well, not be more careful, but be more safe on the top. And in this case, I can capture the other stone. So normally, you wouldn't want to make this sort of exchange here at c2, forcing them to capture the stone. And you'd want to play something like b3, I guess, because they would still have to capture. But in this case, it is a fairly large point move, so it's up to you if you want to play it or not. I think the top is very important, so I would prefer to have Sente. So I think I'm going to try b3. If he captures the stone, then I can play a splitting move on the top. And then if he takes the top, then I have this move at e2 for later to capture a lot of points and to make this group weak. Okay. So now there's sort of two options I have for dealing with the top side, which is reducing with like e13 and building my area. If he invades right away, then I can attack and then invade the top myself, or I can just split. I think splitting is the easier move to play. So that could just be a nice simple one. I'm not sure which one I want to do though. I think both of them are perfectly fine. Let's do the split. I think breaking the board up into smaller positions is often good. Smaller groups of territories. At the amateur level, having a bunch of small territories makes Comey really important. But for professionals and like, well, for the AI seems to think that it doesn't seem to matter too much, as far as I can tell. So I could just jump out, but then he takes away my base possibility. If I make a 2-space base, though, it looks like he could try to press me down and make some influence, which I think would be fine. If I want to attack this stone, though, or this group of stones, because he's pushing me towards it, then I think playing up here is slightly better and more flexible, because then I can come down at g17 to make a very perfect base. And I'm more flexible towards the center.
Yoyomi now starts.
Attaching to me. So what he wants me to do is this move here at k17. If I play here and he extends, then he's gotten a base for himself here. And I still have weakness. If I honey on this side, it's a little bit more difficult for him. So I think I want to separate him because I'm going to try to keep this group weak.
7.
I can capture the stone with one more move. So he has to be careful. Just stay connected. It's fine if he ends up cutting something off. He can't do it right away, but that is fine. Okay. So if I connect, he can Hane on this side, which would allow him to try to connect back up to his group here. If I double Hane, he can connect and do the same sort of thing. So I think I want to try to prevent him from connecting back to this side. This is also threatening to capture his 2 stones. So if I have the ladder, then I can play this G15 move to protect my cutting point. Or I can play H15. Because this peep here on this side isn't important.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
I think I prefer this one to be a little bit further away from his group instead of trying to push right up against it. My group is fairly strong now because of this shape. But I think it's still probably important to jump out one more time to make sure my group is very strong. If he comes over the center, it feels a little bit awkward. So I'm just going to do one jump here. I'm not really sure where black should play yet. Just jumping out is probably fine, I guess, yeah. But I was looking at my territory potential here, and it seemed a little bit awkward. Him coming over the top now doesn't really seem like that big of a deal. So I wouldn't mind just coming over here and trying to take a little bit of profit on the left side. If I do this one, he jumps again, then I can jump again. Do the same with this one. I think either one's fine. I think this move gives the least amount of forcing moves and puts a little bit more pressure on black. But either of those would be fine, I think. I think with this one, it's just a little bit more difficult to make eyes. Whereas if you imagine I played at D11, black could attach where I played here. So he wants to come over the top of my stones, which makes sense. I think I will just come out with the knight's move here. The cut shouldn't really work because I have strength in the area.
Yoyomi now starts.
He's just coming out with a diagonal here. So I'm just going to solidify my left side. And if he wants to push here, then I could just make I shape here. He's not really able to make a lot of points with this. He's mostly running on, I guess it would be dame, empty points.
Nine, 8, 7, 6.
Me turning here at Tengen is probably pretty strong. I'm not really sure what that move is doing, honestly. I guess he's just trying to attack my shape.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Well,
4, 3.
I can defend by threatening to cut through him here. That should be fine. Whenever you want to defend, it doesn't really matter if you're trying to get Sente or not, but if you can defend in your shape in a way that adds a weakness to your opponent, that's always good to do. Attaching here. I think just trying to capture the stone would probably be fine, because it's really exposing this weakness. So I think I'm fine with the Hane on top. If he tries really hard to live on this side, then it really makes this cut very severe, I think. Because it would make me very solid here if he tries to live.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I'll just make sure my group is fine. Since he peeped that, it's sort of interesting. Just extend. I'm just going to focus on making sure everything's as connected as possible. I think that's very important here. Again, the stronger he makes me over here, the more powerful this cut becomes.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now he's cutting me, which is a little bit too much, I think. So I'll just Atari down to protect this Atariing out position. And then I'm going to extend up here to show the weakness still. Oh, he's trying everything. Okay. If I do this one and he comes down, it's a little bit awkward feeling. So sometimes it's better to be a bit more conservative when they're trying a bunch of things. You don't need to capture everything. So I'm going to try from below here. Trying from above seems like it might be an overplay because it leaves too many cutting points in my position. Whereas if he extends up here, I can connect on one side and be fine.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
And that just comes down to reading though.
2.
And you have to trust whatever it is you find there with your reading. So I'll just capture. He's going to be able to defend this cut now, I'm pretty sure. Because he probably wants this Atari and then this hanging connection. But if not, then I can still cut him.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Decides to just protect that direction. I think this peep is really powerful. So I think I will play this peep right away. There's no way I would ever want to not worry about that. I can just connect, that's fine. There's no way I'm going to play a different move here to use this weakness. So after he connects, we have a
9,
thing to consider, I guess.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So this move doesn't work There's actually a nice Tesuji here that I can play, but I don't need to play it. But it might be cool to show you. If I just capture and he connects, then I lose this eye here, and I have to run out, right?
9, 8, 7, 6,
But I can
5,
throw in here
4, 3,
and do this,
1.
because he can't connect here or else I get to cut him off. And if he connects here, then I cut this off, and these stones are dead. But he does have this turn, which is an Atari here, which I connect. He can cut me off here. Or it'd be a double Atari, I think. So let's just capture and not worry about any extra reading here. Just be nice and simple. Because if he
9,
connects here, then I'll just
8,
cut here
7,
and capture these
6,
two
5,
stones outside.
4, 3, 2, 1. 2
And
Yorumis left.
likely capture this top group as well. Yeah, we'll see what he decides to do. While I do that, let me get my coins. There we go.
9, 8,
Got my tree.
7, 6.
So he's deciding to connect here because he can potentially live. But I'm going to cut here right away because this group is now dead. And I can capture these two on the outside or these three. And it connects everything up. So this was definitely very greedy by black. And I will just capture these two stones. Not worry about anything else. This makes my entire group very, very safe on both sides. So he can try to live right away, which he might be able to do. But he has to make a lot of bad exchanges in order to live.
9, 8, 7, 6.
And he has to live on both sides now. If I try this side, I have 2 cutting points. But if I try on this side, I only have the 1. So this side, of course. And I think just connect solidly is probably better. Or do this one's better. If I do this one, he has this move and I connect. If I do this one, he can still play this move and I still have to connect. So I think the better shape is this one. Gives me a potential eye here. I just block. I think that's fine. Always staying connected is very important. He has a good move here with this Hane.
8.
Ah, he did not play it. So if I push here, he can Hane, and then he gets this move for free, or I connect after he Hanes. But he gets to live over here for free, basically. But is he alive here, which is a good question.
9, 8, 7.
I think this push is very, very important for his life and death. But he should Hane here, I think. Or just turn here right away.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He just wants to give it up. So if I push here and he blocks, then I cut it. Then he gets this Atari and he can very likely live on this side.
9, 8.
So I'm going to
6, 5, 4,
Hmm.
2, 1.
We went to Hane here to try to cut it off in a better way. And he connects here. Then when I connect here, I still have all my liberties the same way. There I go. He lives now. And I can make sure this left side is dead. So I had to make a lot of bad exchanges. So this group is a lot more solid on this side.
9,
And
8,
he let me
7,
capture this side.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I could have probably captured a couple stones here, but it didn't seem to matter too much. So it looks like I can just turn here. And
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
let's just turn here. He has to block. So this is a good little reading thing here, if you want to try. I'm not sure if I can kill it, but let's think about it for a second. If I play here, he connects, then I do have this cutting issue here, and I have to connect. So I think the best way is probably this move here, which would be a ko, I think. But I'm not entirely sure. If he connects, then he's just dead. Ah, now it's a ko. All right. There might have been a better way to try to kill the group. But I'm not too worried about that. If I connect and he connects, then I can throw in. So if I connect, he has to play inside. Now I just find one more co-threat. So is this a co-threat? He captures... yeah, it's a co-threat, I guess, right? But now when he captures here, I can just poke at him. If I want to do something that's like a bad threat, like this one, it gives me more threats, but he captures a stone. So I think I would rather play some sort of poke instead. So let's do that. This one looks cooler. That's why I wanted to play it. But anything to poke at this eye is fine.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Okay. Now he has to find another co-threat. He played some really bad co-threats already, which just gave me points, which was really nice of him. This one. So I get this, and he gets the corner. No, I think I'm going to keep it. I think I'm fine with just playing a threat like this one, which is just a big move I want to play anyway. And I can probably just jump up here. Threatening a lot of points on this side. Ah, he's just jumping in right away. Okay. I don't want him to attach here on this side, so I think I will play the high move here. I'm okay with him peeping, because now he has to live with this group.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5.
He's wedging again. That's interesting. I'll just block from this side. He really likes to wedge. If I connect here and he cuts, I can just give that up. Or I can extend. If I connect here and he cuts, then I just give that up completely and there's nothing else to worry about. He gets more points, but nothing else happens. Okay. Trying to make some Aji in the corner, right? I'll just extend up. I want to stay strong so that I can extend on the bottom. He's a very greedy and sort of jealous player. But he only really has this as territory. He's going to try to live in the corner. Okay. I'm going to live right away. Another ko. I'll just protect. He can live. He's trying to live in Sente. Does this live? I block here. He connects. I do this. And is he alive?
Nine,
Might
8,
be.
7, 6,
But I
5.
think it's probably fine. I feel like he's pretty good at reading life and death stuff. So we'll see if he plays on the move in the corner. Because there is a lot of Aji there. With this move here,
9, 8,
it becomes a little bit harder for him to live right away. So now that he's done this, can we kill him with this move? Maybe. Because now that he's given me a lot more strength here, if I go down here, he turns, I do the double Hane, he Ataris, I
9,
Atari, he
8,
captures, I Atari, he connects,
6,
and then I connect,
4,
then he just has to
3,
run out.
2.
So let's do that. It's just exactly what I was saying. with this connection here, it becomes a lot harder for him to do something to capture the stones. So if I do this one, if he Ataris down, then there shouldn't be anything in this area. So this should be fine. This reduces his liberties as well. I don't want to let him get that Atari even if I can do a Ko. I'd much rather have him try to survive with this dumpling. He's jumping very far out. I'm going to peep at his shape because he can't block. Otherwise, there's a snapback. So he has to run out instead. This would also strengthen my 3 stones a lot. But as you saw, he made my shape very, very solid here. See, look, he's very good at reading. He is quite good at reading. But, let's just push and cut this. Separate this stone, so we're at least getting some points here, if he does live. And this is also strengthening this side. And I can just surround him like this, forcing him to run down to the bottom. But I'm very, very solid here, and I have 2 eyes. So there's nothing he can do to attack me. This is why the greedy style can be really bad.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I'm fine with capturing. He can do this crosscut if he wants to. I Atari. If he Atari's underneath, I capture. We can maybe try to do something like that. To try to connect underneath, maybe. We'll see if he does this crosscut.
9, 8, 7.
I can sacrifice this stone if I need to.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Just going straight down. If I go down and he cuts, that becomes a little bit awkward. So I can just connect here, because he still has to play this move. And then I can block him. And if he connects underneath, then I just cut him off. Do I want to push or Hane? I think it doesn't really matter too much. So I will Hane. I'll just block. I guess I shouldn't have blocked. I should have cut him directly. But there's more reading with the block. If he goes down, I connect. He turns, then I can Hane. Like, there's more to read there.
6, 5,
A little bit more risky.
3.
But at the very least, I can do this Hane. Well, maybe not. Can't necessarily do that. We'll see if he plays the right move here, though. He can play this move to threaten to connect up to the corner. Yeah, that was my mistake. I should have played the more clear move.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So he's wanting to connect to the corner. So here's a good question. Can the corner live? If I play here, what does he play? This one? Hmm.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Let's
4.
capture these 3 stones unless he connects here. Then let's throw in on this side. And then we can play in here, I guess, and try to make it a ko, I believe is what it should be. Now he has to throw in for a ko. Yeah, I should have played the more clear move instead of playing the more greedy move
9,
myself. I made the same mistake.
7, 6, 5,
But it's probably fine.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, this should be an easy move for him to find. He's been really good at reading so far. I think I'd be fine with just capturing a part of it as a co-threat. That should be good enough, I think.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Oh, he connected. Does he have 2 eyes? Well, it's a ko no matter what, so I'm going to push here. Then extend here, threatening to cut him off. So if I go down here, he has to play this move. He can push and then play here to make 2 eyes. So I guess I just get rid of his potential for 2 eyes. Now he has to make the ko for sure. There we go. But it's not, it's still a ko because he can't Atari here. I just connect. And I have a lot of local threats, which is really nice. Okay. So I can threaten to cut him off. And he still can't Atari these stones because he would be an Atari. So he probably has some co-threats. Yeah, like that. But I can probably just go into his corner. And that should be good enough. This is his only real territory, so he can't give it up. And just connect. And I'll Hane to live in the corner. If he lives here, he just gets a couple points. But he doesn't really have any points anywhere, except for this area.
9, 8, 7, 6.
Is that a co-threat? Yeah, sure. I'll do the tiger's mouth, threatening to live. Hmm. Okay. So he's saying I can live, which is interesting. So he's giving up his corner points for the co, which is maybe all he can do. So I think I'll just live here. Ah, he resigned. Okay. That was a really intense game. Let's look at the score estimate really quick. I'm ahead by 50 points. Okay, good. It felt a little weird, but that's probably, let me see. That's probably accurate because black doesn't really have points anywhere anymore. That was only 3 games before my double rank up, which will be fun. But we should look at this game really quick and probably talk about how black should have played. So, okay, so my opponent was definitely stronger than 5Q. So that kind of made the game a little bit more interesting and fun. When you don't know what rank your opponent actually is, it kind of makes the game difficult in a lot of ways. But more exciting, I think. Anyway, I think that his big mistake was the greediness, but he was able to back it up with reading. So I'm not exactly sure what his strength is, but maybe closer to Wandon area. Honestly, he read better than some of the Wandons I've played, so it's really hard to guess. You guys will have to let me know in the comments what rank do you think this guy is. A quick note about the opening before we get into the main issue with his game. This is sort of a bad idea for this opening. When you're playing the cross game, you can play high here if you really want to. This is a personal choice sort of thing. But in general, the cross opening is better with territory. So having this 4/4 stone in the corner is not necessarily bad because it can give you a little bit more of a balance of influence for this style of game. But it's often not good to go all influence like he did here. He played a very solid move here, which lost him a little bit locally. And I could Hane, but there's cutting points, as I mentioned in the game, so I extended. And I think that locally, white should be better, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. But most definitely globally, I believe white is better, especially after black plays this move. To me, this feels like, with how strong his reading was, this feels like he's trying to give a handicap. Now, I'm not too worried about the opening here. What's really interesting, I think, played a lot of these fun attachments. What's really interesting is when we get to this point, where he's trying to live on the left side, protect this cutting point, and not die on the top, and attack me here at the same time. He's trying to do a little bit of everything. And that's often a very bad idea. Now I do like this move here. I think this is actually kind of interesting and potentially good. So if I Hane underneath, he can Hane on top here. If he goes back, well, if I go back, he can connect. I go forward here. And now this cutting point is a lot less of a problem because he can try to connect up his groups. Or he can push here because now he's made a little bit more strength. So if I try to cut, he can just give up the one stone because it's threatening my group on the other side. And his shape is actually quite good, right? This one stone's not really that important. It was cutting off the entire group that was important. So I like this idea. That's a very complicated and advanced style of move. So my idea here for him is that if I Hane here, he should probably be cutting. Because this makes this situation very complicated. And if I just back off, it gets to become a little bit similar to what we just saw. In that if I cut here, it's not necessarily really good for me. I can't really cut him. And it's kind of awkward. So I think he should have tried using his move in a better way. That's what it seemed like his goal was to protect this cutting point, which is as I said, a very advanced thing and something that I definitely suggest you try doing. You should look for moves that protect in a different way. Like a more basic example would be this move. If I just respond, then he can just keep playing because now this obviously doesn't work. And it's hard for me to ignore this move. But this is a very direct move. So some people don't really find that sort of move appealing. You'd also try this sort of attachment here. If I Hane, you do this double Hane. Now it's protected, right? And I still sort of need one more move in the area. If I play on this side, there's more forcing moves. And again, this move here, trying to do a little bit more than that. But it's also creating Aji to potentially live here. So if I do this one, and he decides to protect this directly now, if I give up on the attack and play here, which is a very solid move, then he gets to be the first one in the center. And if I decide to take the center, maybe his group is strong enough now for him to try to live here in some way. Right, this seems possible. The main goal here was that if he did try to do this right away, and he's able to live, let's just say he's alive, then I can cut here, and there's not as much he can do about it. It seems a little difficult, but it's still a fight. If I'm able to kill this top group, then it's probably fine. This may not be the best way for either of us to play. I'm just illustrating the point here. There might even be a better way for me to play on this side to be more strong, like connecting here solidly. But then he played moves that were like these are all very difficult to handle. It's always good to just stay connected. Do whatever you can to just stay connected. He might live, but that's okay. As you saw, he lived basically everywhere in this game, but he just didn't have enough points to win because that's all he was doing was living. So here, I'm just staying connected. And what I do in the game, I gotta remember. Then I extend it out, right? This is threatening to capture this stone, threatening to cut, just staying strong. And again, if I cut on this side, then there's a lot of different cutting points for me. This could still be fine. I don't know. But the simpler move, and the move that's way more connected, is cutting on this side, because this cutting point doesn't exist at all. A lot less reading that way. And there was like something here, for example, this sort of Aji, but there is this like weird co-shape Aji stuff here, which is very awkward for me to deal with. And so it's a lot more reading. That's why I decided not to try to show you. If this was really clean, I would have played this in the game. But just playing the simple move and staying strong here is more than fine. And because this cut is just too much for black. After he connects here and I capture this, he doesn't really have much. And I could have tried really hard to kill him if I wanted to, but there was no point in that. Again, it's all just me staying connected. Whenever he wedges, I play the Atari on the side that has the best connection. And then I don't try to go all out to kill everything. Here we go. So again, he is jumping in to the corner and trying to just survive. So on the other side, I showed you that his move, what he should have been focusing on was using this fun attachment to protect his cutting point, sort of protect himself in Sente, right? Or just doing the more direct peeping at my shape to protect himself. But didn't really work out too well for him. However, in this case, what he really needs to do is we need to count the board here, right? If I use the score estimate, it says I'm ahead by about 50 points, which is a lot. So he needs to reduce the area, but he also needs to build. So that's very difficult to do. It's probably too late for him to win on points. So his best option is to try to attack me in some way, or to just create create a very complicated situation. So make him peeping and jumping here. If I jump out and protect myself, I do sort of lose the attack. And he needs to gamble on the fact that I can't kill this group and probably play something like this. And force me to get some points on the bottom, force me to defend everything, and then force me as severely as possible to attack this group. I think I can probably kill it in some way. I wouldn't do that, but I think I can kill it, but he has to try to gamble in this way, I think. Because he needs to make points and make sure I don't have points over here because of how he played earlier. But if we look at the estimate again, it's down to maybe me being ahead by 20 points. So yeah, it's much better for him this way. But it's still very difficult. And I might not even answer some of his moves. This would probably be his best chance of trying to win this game. But in the game, he had a similar idea. He wants to gain some points, but this is gaining like 5 to 10 points. Maybe preventing my 3-3 invasion. There's a potential co there. But it gets a little bit difficult the more stones he has in the area. So it's probably non-existent for the most part. And this area is not quite big enough points-wise. The bottom is still playable here for me. So if I just extend up and let him have this, and we can assume that this isn't necessarily my points yet, even if he's able to get rid of all of this in the middle, I can still at the very least get some points on the bottom. But my plan in the game was to do this shoulder hit because it looked like more fun. I should get all the points in the center. It looked more aesthetically pleasing for me. But instead, he showed his plan to sort of save this and make points over here, but he wanted to get something extra first. But in doing so, and trying to be extra greedy, trying to live in Sente, he made it so that I could then play this move, whereas before it was a little bit more complicated to play that move. I didn't have nearly as much backup. So it ended up being a very bad idea. Again, let me know what you guys think his rank might be. I think it'd be interesting to see any guesses, but I think that's it for today. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have fun.